So just recording the webinar so I can publish it later as well. Uh, uh, all right. Okay, guys, welcome to the webinar and let's get started. So if you have any questions during the webinar, just feel free to ask question and answers and I'll try to reply them as soon as I can. Um, I like to answer the questions the webinar is going on rather than wait for the end, because then someone else might have the same questions as well. So feel free to ask questions and I'll try to answer them on the flow. All right. Okay, let's get started. So first, a bit of introduction about Jumple and the whole products as well. So Jumple, we have been developing Jumple for about 5, 6 years now, and it's a component-based system. So what you have over here is all the different modules that you can use for your team, and we sort of developed it because when I was running my own agency, we were managing so many different tools just to take care of our basic work, and they were all like different, like separated with each other. Like we had the chat was different, the project management was different, then the file storage was somewhere else. We didn't have good timesheets and um, attendance tracking as well, and no staff monitoring at all. Um, and other stuff as well, like the client portal. So we never had a client portal. Um, so as we've evolved, we try to take the learnings that we have had from our agency experience and try to build a product that's suitable for a lot of agencies, and it becomes like a home for your team. So this webinar in particular is about the staff monitoring and and how to manage your, how to um, increase your productivity, your team's productivity by staff monitoring and also um, attendance and tracking the stuff that they're doing. All right. Okay. So I'll jump into it straight away. So let's go into the timesheet module. The first thing I would recommend, I'll tell you about is um, is each organization has their own way of managing attendance and timesheets and stuff like that. So they have different workflows. So what we've done is with Jumple is we've tried to make this module like the timesheets module, which is more of like timesheets and attendance as well. We've tried to make it very flexible. How we've done that is you have a set of options over here that you can change, and you can actually go into each user's setting as well from here, and you can change that as well from here. So I'll go through these options and tell you a bit more about that. So the first thing is the buttons. So the buttons that you have over here, check in, and also when you have the desktop app, you have the check-in button over here. Um, this can be modified to whatever you want. So you can say start work and end work, or start timer and timer, whatever you want from there. So this is the first flexibility that you have. Then we have like a check-in, check-out option where you can where you can have this button or not. So, for example, you don't want this button at all, you can do that as well, and I'll tell you why that is later on. Um, and also track staff time. So you want to track the time, or it can be just be a button. So, say example, if you don't want to track time, some organizations they don't want to log the times of the people, but they just want to see when they came in and when they left the office. So when the check-in button is pressed, the timer won't go on. It'll just be checked in and checked out. Um, so now the capture screenshot. So this gets a bit more towards staff monitoring now. So what you can do is you can have the screen captures on for the whole team, or you can have them off if you want. Um, so a lot of organizations, they don't want to capture the screen. Like the employees might be um, a bit hesitant to use this. So we've got this option as well, and each organization is different. So we've tried to, and I've been in organizations that have a lot of different workflows as well. So that's why we made it so that it's a bit it's a bit general, so you can make the settings to your own likings. Then you have the log. Okay, so we've got a question here already. When you have a screenshot capture for a user, are they aware of it? Yes, they are. So what we do is when they have the screen capture, that's a very good question, obviously. So what happens is when you say check-in, um, your screenshot will be captured on this random interval. So they get this option, and so they're aware of that. We obviously, for privacy reasons, we have to show this. So this is where this happens. Okay. Um, Now, we're going to add a few more captions to this button as well. But for screen capturing, I should mention here that we need definitely need the desktop app running for them. So they have so if they have the desktop app running, only then we can capture the screens for them. Now, what happens? So the idle time. So similar to screen capturing, we also the staff monitoring system does idle time as well. So what you do is you have um, when a user is not moving their cursor or keyboard for 1 minute, they get into idle time. We'll start logging idle time for that. So you'll see that in the logs. I'll show you how to do that. So you do that and leave management. So what happens is if you want to track your leaves and absentees, from Jumper as well, you can do that. Some people just want to use it for time tracking, so we have made this an optional and enable timesheet and attendance. So this one is similarly what happens is if you come over here, this is the admin view, and what happens is you have these two buttons here, which makes it more of an attendance monitoring as well as attendance and staff monitoring. So if you want to add a leave for someone, you can do it from here. And so if a user wants to add it themselves, they can do it as well. So they'll come here and they will select their own name, and they will do this, and an email goes out to the admin that they've applied for a leave. They release comments, and an email will go out to the admin, and they can come and they can they can talk to the person, or you can have a manual time. So manual time is for so in our organization, and what happens is so if someone's missed the day, or they call the HR person, and HR person can log this time as well. So for example, they've if the HR if the workflow is so that HR person actually logs the time rather than the user the user themselves, then they'll do that. So they can HR person can come and say whatever time is there, and they can do that as well. So it'll come up in the log entry. We have another question. Let's go there. Okay. If the user is watching a video, does that count as idle time? Yes, that will probably count as idle time. What's happening here is the next thing that we're doing is so they can actually write comments as well. So that I was watching a video, with this timer. So what they can do is for each interval, they can write it down. I was watching a video for 15 minutes or 20 minutes, then you'll know that that's happening. But what we are in the next version, what's happening is we are actually going to be rolling out. So we're going to be tracking the software as well. So what software they were using. So this is already in development. So you'll be able to see which software they were using and for what time was in focus and what time. And the next version is the URL as well. So we're going to be tracking the URLs as well. Probably that'll go live towards end of next month, but then you have a good idea of what they were doing with the application focused, and also the URLs as well. Okay, so yes, so if you go back to the settings here, then you can see that these are generic options for the whole business. But if you want to get into details and you want to track each individual differently, so this is a good workflow, um, like a good workflow setting as well. What happens is I've got no normally what we see is like a lot of in any office about most of the staff is doing the right thing, but some of the staff you have queries about if they're doing the right thing or not. And then they're about 20, they might be 20 to 30%, or if you're really lucky 5 to 10%. Then you can have each user have their own settings. So if I don't want to track anyone and I just want to track Alex, for example, I can just do that. And auto tracking is, I'll tell you about this screenshot deletion. So if you want them to delete the screenshot, edit time. And so these are all the settings that you can do for a user for themselves. And obviously the frequency of the screenshots. So the higher the frequency, the higher it gets, it's not really guaranteed that they'll have that many screenshots, because it puts a lot of getting screenshots might put some burden on the local system as well. So it's the recommended is about 10 to 12 screenshots per hour, and that's every 5 minutes. And because it's randomly generated, so they don't have really any idea of when it was generated. Also, in the next version, what we're doing is if the user has two screens, so they have their desktop, their main they're working on a laptop, plus they have another screen. So it'll take random photos of each screen as well. So that's coming in the next version as well. So a lot of things coming in the next in the next couple of towards the end of May. We have a lot of stuff planned for this and other modules as well. So we're gonna have a really big May. And go through a lot of stuff that we've planned there. We're adding more resources as well. Plus, a few of our team is remote, so we're getting them all together in one office in May, and we'll be going through a lot of stuff. So I'm really excited about what's going to happen next month. That's gonna make a lot of changes and stuff. So, but I'll keep everyone posted about that. That should be that's one of my main jobs next month. Okay, so now let's come into the admin settings. So admin setting is pretty simple. Sometimes you want to give, so this is the admin view where you can see everyone's details. And so this is not available for everyone, but if you make anyone admin, then they can do the same things as that. And this is the admin setting for this timesheet section only. So then you can make them so they can come and manage everything from here as well if they want. Okay, so let's get to the workflow now. Let's execute one of a timesheet and then a time interval, and then see what happens. So now I'll go. So the recommended workflow is that every user has their desktop open all the time when they're working, and especially when staff monitoring is there, because if you don't have the desktop app, then things like screen capturing and the idle time, it won't work. Okay, so what we do is let's go to my own thing, and let's see if I have any tasks assigned to myself. So I'll just go here, and so I've got two tasks pending, and done and verified. So you can have a look at your own tasks or anyone else's tasks. So if I go to this is good one for the admin, where you can go and see admin. If I go to Alex Marshall, and then I can see their assigned tasks. So they don't have any assigned tasks at the moment, and I can see the control panel as well. So there hasn't been any activity for them because this is a new business that I've created. Okay, so now the workflow, how it should look like is if I So you can tell their own, all the staff members that they can either go here or then go to me section as well. So if you go to me section and go to dashboard, um, they can see their tasks as well from here. So they can, so when the staff, like, they start working, the recommended thing is the check-in. So when they check in, they'll have this, your screenshot will be captured and you just say confirm. Okay, so now the interval has started, the work has started. Now, if I refresh this, you'll see on the web, like, you'll see that the timetable has started, and this one says, like, it's not hasn't ended yet. Now, the workflow that we can follow that will make it really easy for you as a manager, plus them as well, is whenever they go to work on a task, just go here and go to time tracking and link this task with the timer. So I just go here and I link this with the timer. Now, what happens is this task gets attached to this time interval. Now, if I go to search here, I'll see one task attached. I can attach tasks from here manually as well. So this is like, if you go to here and say, example, like here, so it'll get all the tasks, search all the tasks, and you can attach a task from here as well. So I'll attach one from here, I'll attach, so now you have two tasks attached there. And what you can do is, so there's two ways of doing it. But the recommended way is obviously, like, keep attaching the task from here. So if I go here, and this is the second task, I'll attach it from here. Now, these tasks will keep getting attached. And when they're done with this, they can just stop it. And when they check out, they can see the list of tasks that were attached to it and just confirm, and that's it. So now when you come back here, so could we attach like 3 tasks altogether? Sorry, 2 tasks altogether, then they'll show these tasks over here that they were attached to. So this will be a good, like, and then the manager can go in and have a look at log history. So you can see the entries over here. Time tracking started, time tracking stopped. New tracker. So this is where we attach the file manually. And also there's another one here, detail report. Okay, so this is a new feature that we've added, and I really like it. You can actually go in and see when the task was attached to this. So you can see over here, so they were working from 6:18 to 6:19, they were working on one task, and then the next one started. So this one is a new, and if you click on the task, like, you can click here and you'll get the task that they worked on as well. So this one is really good for the whole workflow. Like, they can just come here, start their day, and keep attaching the tasks that they do. And at the end of the day, you'll have a summary of all of them, what they've done. And so you can go here and now you can export these as well. So what happens? Let's say, so this is timesheet. You can export it from here and also include tasks. So I'll export all of this, whatever I'm seeing over here. I'll export this. So export that, and so this is the summary of all so this is a summary of all the time intervals over here. So you can see over here, all these are mentioned over here. So, and with this, like, you can have the task attached as well. So this is a task name and project name as well. We're gonna be enhancing more on this, so we can track the time of each of them as well. But this, like, you can export this to any other software if you want, or like, some people were using, I think they were using quick yeah, you can export it to any other, like, payroll or payroll software if you want from here. So you can do that. I think, oh yeah, QuickBooks, so you can export QuickBooks or Xero or anything else if you want from here. Team member, and then you can do that. And if you have any requirements for any other, like, format, you just let us know and we'll include that as well. So this was a good, like, so they can attach comments to it. So at the end of the day, they can attach comments and everything to it as well. Now, this is a workflow that I think everyone should follow. Like that's what we're aiming. So the screenshot will get captured, because I didn't get screenshot because it wasn't like 5 minutes format interval, but like you can see a screenshot coming over here. This was my earlier webinar, and like you can see a screenshot over here as well. If you have more than, like, 5 minutes, then we'll do that. Why it's showing this and I've got only one screenshot is because I didn't have the desktop app on all the time. So you have to have the desktop app on for this. And what we'll do is, like, if you go to detail report, it shows there that the desktop app was closed at 8:40 and, like, and not started again. So that's why these logs will tell you a lot about what's happening with the during the session. If I have a longer one, I'll see if I have a longer one. So this one was there. I'll log into my other account and show you a bit more details. But so over here, what you can do is, like, they can edit the time as well. So if they have, like, edit time, so I don't have this on at the moment, but like then you can have them edit the time. And that's a setting over here that you can do as well, like, track edit time. So I don't have this option for myself. That's why I couldn't edit over here, but you can do that screenshot deletion and also track time, edit time, and then they need a reason for them to edit. So you can do that as well. Okay, we have a few more questions. Yeah, because for instance, the time card is showing you. Yeah, so that's what I said. So what I did was I probably didn't log it off. So I didn't log it off. So what happened was Saturday. Okay, Saturday. Yeah. Okay, Saturday one is different. I'll tell you about the Saturday one. Time card showing. Okay. And 48 hours. Okay. So a couple of things here. One thing is that this one is actually an annual leave. So this one was for annual leave. And if you go over here, you can say set time interval type. So you can select the time interval type. I had all of them collected. So that's why it's showing up over here as an annual leave here. We're going to modify this as well, so that and this is happening next month as well, where they can only they don't see annual leaves like this. So they'll be a different format. Obviously, start and date and it should be the dates, not the time. So the annual leaves will be a bit different from there. And you can add a leave from here, like, so then and this one approved. It's green because it has been approved. So what you do is, like, you can approve a timesheet. And for example, if I want to approve this or reject it, reject is red, obviously, and approved is green. So if I want to approve it, I'll go ahead and approve it, and it will be change the color and get approved there. So you can do, like, and then obviously you can filter it from new, approved, and stuff like that from here as well. If I go into weekly timesheets, you can see them corresponding with the dates there. So example, this is for me, and then this is the green color is for leaves as well. Okay, so this is different, and these are timings that I logged in for the whole this is the 48-hour one, and this is logged in for 14th day. And what happens is so you'll get all the people, all the users here, and then the weekly time will show up. We're gonna be improving this as well next month. So this is a plan to do all of this stuff. Okay, so now if I want to search by project, I can do that as well. So I can go to specific project or a sub project as well, and I can, like, all the tasks that are linked to that will show up here. There might be, so there's one task attached to this particular project. Which one was, I think, Facebook ads. Yeah, so ad creative and Facebook ads. So there was one project, one task attached to that, and this showed up over here. So this is good for, like, if you wanna do the times for each project, you can do that from here as well. So this is a good way of doing it. And if you want to reset the filter, so this is all search. And if you want to reset, just say reset and then search, and this will show everything back again. Now, I've told you how to add tasks. Adding a leave is pretty easy as well. So we have like leave types here. You can do that as well. And reason and paid leave and stuff like that. So we'll be enhancing this module a bit as well for next month. And manual entries for, like, mostly for HR stuff, that you can do that as well. The normal user won't see all these options when they log in. They can only get to their own timesheets, and you can also get to timesheets from here as well. Like, so we have an option of timesheets. So this you can get from here as well if you want. And again, like, the normal user won't see this, see everyone, they'll only see themselves. And even in the dashboard, we have timesheets here as well. So the idea is, like, they can see these as well. Screenshot, and so you go to me section, and normally it's a chat, but you can go to dashboard, and you'll see the screen timesheets over here as well. We're going to be improving the UI for all this, so it's more it makes more sense. This is all happening from now till end of May. Really excited about that. So I'm really looking forward to all the guys getting together and then solving a lot of problems. And I'll keep you guys updated on all of them. Okay, so I've been through this section. I hope this is, so screenshot activity, this is pretty simple as well. I can just go, rather than going everywhere, I can just go in and have a look at that. I will actually log into a live account that we have, and then I'll show you a bit of that. So I've got a few, businesses, like dummy businesses over here. This is our main business, one of the main businesses. What happens here is, if I go to timesheets, so I just want to show you a bit more of a live view of how it works. Okay, so let's change the time frame to March. All right, so you can also see the source over here. So you can see the source, and this is a bit of old, so not every user would have the latest desktop app. It's really highly recommended that the users get the latest desktop app, because that has all the tracking and everything. And 1.1.3 will be coming in. So at the moment, you can download the apps from jump to home/app. But we'll be releasing the next version, and we'll send out an email for everyone telling about that. Chrome plus apps. App. So you can download the apps from here, and we will be releasing the next version very soon, hopefully end of this month, and there'll be another version coming in towards the end of next month. That will be really looking forward to that. It's going to be really, really good for tracking, and we're going to be having a lot of reports as well coming out. Okay, so if I go back to my business, and let's see, let's have a look at this one where there's a lot of activity. So you can see the idle time here. So this is the idle time. So as you can see, like, there's a few different idle times that they had. And this is because, so this is more of a testing. So he's one of the developers. So he was probably testing the system. And report. So they can see that, like, the app was closed at 3:41. And it came back on 3:40. Idle time over here is 2 minutes, and it aggregate is about 3 minutes. So we calculate that, like, based on other stuff as well. The total track time was 10:40, and minus the idle time. The idle time, because it was 3 minutes, then we subtracted from there. But because the desktop app wasn't on all the time, that's why we didn't get the screenshots there. We have his screenshots coming in from here. So you have 24 screenshots. This is happening, and you can see, like, he wasn't working on that. So this gives a good idea of, like, what he was doing. And hence maybe the idle time, or, like, the track time. Time is over here as well. The 3:55, 4 o'clock, 4:06. So taking the screenshots after each, like, 5 minutes interval. And then we have one over here as well. You can see here the 4:35, 4:40, and the screenshots coming there. Now another point to really mention over here is what we found is, like, a lot of users, like, they try to manipulate the system as well. Like, they want to, and I'm not saying it's everyone, but sometimes we see, even with our own users as well, like, they'll try to see if they can play with the idle time, or they can play with the screenshots and stuff like that. Obviously, because not everyone likes to get monitored. So it's sort of, so we evolved the system of over the past 6 months, where, like, especially desktop app, where if someone tries to do something, like, we look at the logs and try to see, okay, so they are purposely disconnecting the system from internet, just so that the screenshots can't be uploaded. So what we've done is, like, for what we, like, as a counter solution to that, we started adding the screenshot locally, and then whenever the connection is on, then we send it to the server. So we've gone through a lot of back and forth with that, and solved a lot of problems. That those problems came from our own team, and also from other teams that we tested the system with as well. So it's very thorough now, and there's a lot of stuff that's happening here that shows, like, if someone's trying to do the wrong thing, or, like, trying to manipulate the system, and you can see it from the logs here. Yeah, so this was a good. So if you have any questions, do ask me, because I think I'm coming towards the end of this one. One other thing that I want to mention is, so, like, how we added the task over here. Another workflow that people do is that they don't want they don't want monitoring, but they only want to track what's happening with track the time of the task that they're doing. And this is a use case a lot for, like, some of the agencies that they don't want to really do the screen recording or screen capturing, but they just want to see how much a person takes like, to do a task. That workflow is pretty simple as well. So that's you can do it from the web as well. And people who are using the web, they can just go to any task here. So now my time interval is off, and it's not tracking, but I can go to a task and I can just say, okay, I want to start this task. And I want to, so I've worked on it for how long, and I want to stop it here. And that's perfectly fine as well. And then they can go to the next task and then just say start task. And I have done this task. So now this is another workflow that very easy to do, for example. So basically what it does is it logs in a time for each of the tasks. So these are the two tasks that I just did now, and you can see one task attached to that. So you'll get this workflow as well. We have a few users that are just simply using that. They're not concerned with the screenshots. They're not concerned with the time, idle time or something. So they'll just do that. And it's pretty easy to get a report for that as well. And so you just go here and what? So let's just take out a report for that. And we have this, and we just take out a timesheet, and pretty simple. All the tasks that I've done are in over here, and very simple. You can see the task timing for each of the tasks. This is a very simple workflow as well. So we try to cater for as many workflows as we want. Now, one of the things that we recently did with our own organization is we have a daily report of tasks that gets published in a group. So we're going to be adding that workflow as well. So and I'll try to automate that as well. So every day, whatever the timings are, we'll either send it as an email to the user, to the admin, or like publish it in a group. Publishing in a group is really good because that keeps everyone, shows everyone what's happening. And from an HR perspective, our HR person likes to do that as well, just to have a lot of transparency on what's happening with Gmail, who's coming in late, who's coming in early, or if there's someone on leave, then this is a really good way to give a live view without having to go in the timesheet to a timesheet section and making generating a report, so everyone gets a live view of who's coming in and who's not coming in. So that's one of the things that we were working on as well to do that. Okay, so I'm coming towards the end of the session now. So if you have any questions, any suggestions, more we're looking for suggestions a lot because we're constantly improving the system, and we've come this far, with all the modules on improving the system, and staff monitoring is one that's very close to my heart as well. It's more of like attendance as well, because I know when running an agency, you don't want to have a separate system that just does attendance, and everyone has a different workflow. So it's really if we can combine this with the project management, and we've done this already, but even more integrations with the project management, that'll be ideal for a lot of businesses where they have a staff of like 10, 20, 30 people, and the managers want to get a view of what's happening and what people are doing straight away. So this stuff is very good in managing the whole project so far. So if you have any questions, do let us know. I see another question coming in from Daryl. Yes, I'll record. I think I've done a good job on this recording on this webinar. So I'm getting better at the webinars. So I'll definitely post this. It's getting recorded right now. So I'll definitely post this, and I will hopefully, like, a lot of other people can learn from this as well. And Daryl, thanks a lot for all your inputs as well. So, and keep them coming. If you want any more, and I think Brad as well has been. I'm talking to a few guys um, on new workflows. So if you have any suggestions, let me know, and we'll definitely add this add the make it in the roadmap. Um, yeah, so all your suggestions are really welcome. So looking forward to all that, and thanks a lot for joining, and hope this session has helped. Yeah, and keep using Jumple, and also, towards end of next month, we'll I think we'll have a lot of the features that we wanted in Jumple, and then we're going to start promoting it a lot more. So at that time, we'll have an affiliate program as well, so you can all like join in for an affiliate program, and all the early users, and we'll be happy to give you a good percentage of the success for Jumple, and it'll be a recurring revenue for everyone. So that'll be really good as well. And hope we can improve our partnerships beyond this. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for everything, and see you soon. Talk to you soon. Bye.